Hello, everyone. Welcome. Glad you're here. We're waiting for Jackie to join. She's going to hop on in a second here down below. Oh, there she is. I'm going to let her in the room. Jackie, hello.
Hey,
It's so good to see you live on Instagram.
it's good to see you too.
All right, so I'll give a little introduction to anyone who's joining this for the first time and doesn't really know. So I thought it'd be really a fun time to just interview some of my friends and colleagues who work in the fine arts and just get their perspective on things, have a Q&A just to learn from them and hopefully to learn um, from all of our viewers too, because people have been sending in some questions for us. And Jackie is one of my best friends, and she is also a musician. She plays the cello, and she is a music teacher. So, welcome, Jackie. Thanks so much for being here. And
Thanks
I
for
wanted
having me.
to first ask you, where did you study? What did you study? And what is your career?
Yeah, so I studied at Hope College with you. I graduated with a bachelor's in instrumental music education. I played cello, so that was like a huge part of why I went into music education. Instead of something else. I just had a passion for music. And so I am now teaching. This is my 6th year. It's my 5th year at West Ottawa. And then my first year I taught at Kentwood. So 6 year
Mhm.
teaching.
Wow. It's crazy how time flies. I
Yeah.
can't I can't believe, yeah. And your first year, didn't you teach both band and orchestra?
Yeah. So my first year at Kentwood, I taught part time. So it was the only job I could get. And then my second year teaching at West Ottawa, the only opening they had was like band orchestra. And so I was like, okay, cool. We're going to go in an interview. And so my first year teaching, I did 2 hours of sixth grade band every day. And that was an experience.
So it was one class that was 2 hours, or it was sixth grade for two different.
It was, yeah, sixth grade for 2 different hours because there was like, I want to say there was like 200 kids in that. Like it was crazy amount of kids. So
That's in
yeah,
200. Wow.
it was insane.
How many is the largest class you've ever had? Like in a class, the class size?
My largest class size, band wise, I had like, there had to have been like 50 or 60 kids in my brass class that I had.
That's a
My
lot.
biggest orchestra class was 54. I want to say that was my second year at West Ottawa. I had 54 in my 7th grade class. So yeah.
That's a lot of just in general. I would imagine, because I've never done that. I know I came and gave like a little master class once, which
Yep.
at your class, which was super fun. But I
Yep.
only had like we broke off into sectionals, and I think I only had like half of that size.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine even like not dealing with a class of students, just even adults. Like if I'm the center of attention in a room of like 50 people and I have to lead them, I would imagine
Mm-hmm.
that would be very difficult
Oh, it's
sometimes.
crazy. Oh, it's so crazy. And I can't complain because like the choir teacher has like 90. And then like the guy I
Wow,
work with at
that's a
high
lot.
school had like, yeah, right. I'm like, I don't even know how you do that. So I don't know, 50 was the most I've had. The smallest I've had, I think this year was my smallest. For 6th grade, there's two separate classes because 6th grade is usually bigger. And
Mhm.
my smallest one this year has 18 in it, which is like, it feels so small. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Um, so I'll go on to my next question that I had for you.
go
Uh,
for it.
and it was, what is your favorite part about being a teacher?
Um, so my favorite part about being a teacher doesn't even really deal with music. I really love, I teach middle school, which I love. And I think the thing that I love most about that is just that kids in middle school, they're going through so many changes, like so many changes. And so getting to like be there and be a support system specifically for like middle school age kids is just such a cool thing. Especially orchestra, it's so different than like teaching English or science or any core subject. With the electives, if they want to do the elective, like they're in it every year. So some of these kids I've known for 4 years now, because they've been in 5th grade all the way through 8th grade with me. And so I think my favorite thing is just building these bonds and getting to know them, especially during this time period where they're like going through all of these changes, and you get to see them like grow from like 2-foot tall 6th graders to like 8-foot tall 8th graders. And it's so fun. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And you're a super fun teacher. I've seen you teach because I've been to your classroom a few times because you've invited me in. And I just love that when I came, at least, all of the kids, they genuinely love you. Like they like
most of the
they
time.
check up. Well, yeah, but they would check up on you and talk about what they did that weekend, and I can just sense that they really love you. So that's really really wonderful.
Thanks. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, who wouldn't love you? But
I mean, if you'd be surprised. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so now we can move on to some questions from our audience. And if you guys are watching live below, definitely feel free to comment in the comment section, ask us anything that comes to mind, and we'd love to answer if we can. But the first question that we got in from our audience was if we like hip hop. I'll answer first.
Go for it.
My answer is I don't really like hip hop, but I don't really have a lot of knowledge about it because it's not like the first thing I listen to. So I have Spotify. I love Spotify. Mm-hmm. And my stuff that I listen to is like folk, indie, classical, some pop, rock, but like hip hop is like the furthest thing from what I'm like drawn to. But again, personally, I don't know a lot about hip hop. So my answer is I'm not opposed to hip hop, but it's not like my favorite thing. So now I'll leave it to you, Jacquie. You can answer.
So yeah, I've listened to a lot of things. When I swam, I used to listen to like hip hop and rap to pump myself up.
Oh yeah.
But like I don't know any like any any musician in that genre at all. I would just like put on shuffle and be like, yeah, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But like, no, I'm pretty close to you, like indie folk. I mean, I'm not very, I don't know much about hip hop. So I'm going to say I don't hate it, but I don't know it. So.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And you touched on another thing. You were like such a good swimmer. Well, you probably still are. You swam so much. Do you still coach a swim team too at your school?
Yeah, so I coach at Holland. I coach the middle school boys and girls teams, and then I did high school 1 year, but that was like too much stuff to do. So
that's a lot. So you teach like hundreds of kids, and on top of that, you coach swimming.
Yep.
And you have other side hustles too.
Yeah, yeah.
Very exciting. Very exciting. I like it.
Kind of like quarantine's been great because I can breathe again, but
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, same for me. We both have a lot of stuff going on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, the next question that we received, and I think this is a really great question. Someone asked, what advice would you give to high school seniors who are about to go into the music field for college?
I thought that was such a good question.
Me too.
I wish someone answered that for me. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Okay. So there are two things that I thought about with this. I think the first thing that I thought about when I read that one was I wish that like we had like a theory class in high school and something to like prepare me like that way for college. And then I was thankful because my mom made me do music theory the summer before I went to college. She like bought me a book and made me do it. But I think the thing that I wish most, like if you haven't done any theory yet, like pulling out a theory book and just kind of dabbling in it. You don't have to be a pro when you get to college because there's classes. But I guess I wish that I'd known more about theory going into college because I
Mm-hmm.
felt really lost. And I think the second thing that I would want to know going in would probably have to do with practicing. I wish that I'd practiced more
Mm-hmm.
my first and second year because I felt so overwhelmed with like all the classes and stuff. And not only practicing to get better, but practicing just so I could have a space to go and like shut out everything else that was going on. I guess, I don't know, I felt like I had to keep up with everything else. And then practicing kind of fell to the wayside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I
Yeah.
guess I wish that I knew that going in, like it's okay to take time out of the day, even if you have other homework due, just go practice because it's a good reset. And it also, I mean, you're there for music. So yeah.
Yeah. Those were both really good things. I agree with the music theory, especially, um, because music theory is just, it's kind of like math, and
Mhm.
it's so technical and so, there's so much logic behind it. I was also overwhelmed my first year of music theory in college. It was just like another language. And because you're going from high school to college, it's such a different pace of class. So
Mhm.
it just comes at you so fast. And you're like, oh my goodness, all this stuff I need to know. So I too wish I would have at least gone into a little more depth with it before I started college. So that's probably something I would also advise for any seniors in high school who are going into music. Just like get a little book on music theory and just even just acquaint yourself with like vocabulary terms. I think that
Yep.
would even be helpful. And then something else I thought about was looking back for me, for myself, I was a performance major and then went into arts management. And I I didn't even know about arts management stuff when I was in high school or in college. And I think the more that I've been in my field, the more that I've seen in the music industry that is available as a career. And I think there, as I was talking with Madeline yesterday about kind of some stigmas with the music industry and the music field, about how, you know, you're going to be a starving artist, or there's not a lot that you can do with a music degree. But I think it's actually like there's so many things. There's
Yeah.
so many routes that you can take with music, and it's really exciting. So one piece of advice I would have for any senior in high school is to network now, to ask questions about people in the music industry, ask them what their careers are, and get a lot of different perspectives. Because if you don't necessarily know exactly what route you want to go, having a lot of people that can advise you up front is going to be so helpful for like creating the pathway that you could see yourself on going down later in your career in music. So those two things are what I thought of.
I 100% agree with that too. I talk to my students a lot about that because they're always like, can't like, if I go into music, I'm either like playing in an orchestra or I'm like teaching. And I'm like, no, like, there's so many
There's
awesome things
so
you could
many
do.
things.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And I
I
wish I'd
mean,
known that. So,
to give
yeah.
like a little example, like there are people that I work with at the symphony who do audio, sound, lighting, engineering. So they have a little bit of knowledge of music, but they're also, you know, working not only with music, but the production of the show.
Yep.
And like studio musicians, you don't have to play in an orchestra, or, you know, you don't have to be a solo performer just to be a performer. You can play, you can go to Nashville, you can go somewhere else and be a studio musician too. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things. You can be a music teacher.
Yeah.
You can do
You
something
can be
like
a
I'm doing.
studio teacher. Yeah. Yep. You
Yeah,
can do all these things. It's
there's
awesome.
so many things. Yeah. Okay, the last question we got, and below, again, you guys comment below if you have any questions for us. They don't necessarily have to relate to music. So the last question we received was, do you have any fun games that help teach technique? And
Thank you for this
I'll
question,
let you
Madeline.
answer this because you're the music educator.
So I wish that I had like all of these games that I could be like, oh my gosh, these are all like amazing games that work wonders. And I was thinking about this, and like they're more or less just like fun little things I do. They're not even games. Two things that I do that I was thinking about specifically that my students, specifically sixth grade, when we're like really forming those technical aspects of their instrument. Um, One thing we started this year that somebody recommended was when we teach bow hold, we give them colorful straws instead of like their bow, which I'm sure like every music teacher has tried that probably. But that was such a game changer this year. In
Hmm.
past years, we've had like sections of bows that we like, old bows that we just cut up, and then we give them a small piece of bow. And then this year we gave them these straws, and they just thought it was the coolest thing ever because they're like, I have a hot pink straw and look
Hmm.
at, I can do my bow hold. And I'm like, cool, awesome, way to go. So like that was kind of something this year that we tried that was a little bit different that my kids really like. And then something I've been doing since my first year teaching is I do like a you be the teacher switch with my kids that are stand partners. So we go through all the technique stuff, and probably about 2 weeks after we do it, I have them teach a mini lesson to their stand partner, and they have to
Hmm.
teach them how to hold their instruments, how to play the first few notes, bow hold, things like that. And it is so much fun. It takes like 15 to 20 minutes because they have to flip flop and each person gets a chance to teach. Um, but they think it's so cool. And then I have them go home and I have them teach a parent how to hold the instrument, how to play the instrument. So
That's a
it's
really good
not really
idea.
so much a game. It's so cool. And then I have parents come to conferences and they're like, oh my gosh, my student taught me how to play their instrument. And I'm like,
Oh, that's
yes.
great.
So it's great because it gets the parents a little bit more invested too.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah. Yep. Those are like my two things that are like my go-to. I do some other things, technique wise, not so many games, but like other things game wise. I do that aren't technique oriented would be
Hmm.
like Kahoot. We use Kahoot in class a lot, which is super
I don't
fun.
even know what that is.
What?
Should I know what that is?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I
So
definitely
Kahoot,
don't.
Kahoot is like a quiz game that they can log in on their Chromebooks. And then they
Oh,
have to be like the fastest to get answers. So usually we do it for like music terms. Um, but I guess you could do it with technique too. You could put like pictures on the board and be like, which of these is
ooh.
the
So
correct way to hold your
is it
instrument?
only an app within this Chromebook stuff?
Nope. It's like a website. It's a free website.
See, I'm
It's
so glad I'm doing these Q&As. I'm learning things. This is great.
it's super fun. And then I'll usually do it. Sometimes we'll do it by section, so like cellos versus bass, which is super intense. Or sometimes we'll just do it individual, and then at the end it gives you the top three people, and
Ooh,
then I
that's
bring in
fun.
right, and then you bring in donuts because they want to win the donut. So top three get donuts in my class.
That's a super good idea.
Yep, super fun.
Wow. I have one thing that I can contribute to this. So I did some Suzuki violin teacher training. So I'm trained in books one and two, and some of the things that we did in our training with younger kids, like 5-year-olds. I have a game that I do in private lessons with a bow hold and like a song. So you teach
Mhm.
them this little song that goes along to the melody of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, which is the first song that they learn in book one of Suzuki. So not only are you teaching them the bow hold, but you're teaching them even before they're picking up the instrument and playing the violin, they're learning the melody in their ear to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Nice.
So it's like you're tricking them into learning the tune before they even start playing the violin. So I love that one. And then
That's awesome.
something else I've done in group classes is kind of like what you were doing, like switching off, having the kids in pairs teach the other kid.
Mhm.
I taught a group class with some students a while ago, and I would actually pick a student to switch places with me and go up in front and teach everyone else what they had just learned. So it's kind of like that, like making the student be the teacher,
Yep.
which,
And they love that too.
mhm.
It's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I don't have any more questions, and we didn't get any more from our audience. Should we talk about anything else?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Quarantine. Oh, do you have any funny stories from your online classes?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do. So mostly I'm just giving online lessons right now because I found that just doing, and this is why I'm not doing online like group, like full groups. When I did the online full groups, I had kids that just like showed up in masks and I was like, what is happening?
Wow.
And then they were just, it was so much, it was too much and you can't control it. And so instead of doing online classes, I'm doing group lessons, but I have kids that like, show up to the group lessons and their siblings are just screaming like in the
Mm-hmm.
background.
Oh
One
man.
kid showed up and was like, what did he say? Oh, he's like, oh, my sibling is the worst. Like the kid playing was just still playing and the sibling was like in the background just like, I really hate my sibling. They don't clean their room. And I'm just like, what is happening right now? What is this life? So that was, I don't know, nothing really crazy has happened. I have kids that just don't read instructions and I get like 20 emails a day, but
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been insane. Are you doing virtual lessons?
Yeah, I am teaching not a ton of students. I have like three or four,
Okay.
and it's not every week, but we are checking in on Zoom, which has been such a good tool to have, and just doing general like half
Yep.
hour private lesson. And it's not, I was telling Madeline yesterday, it's not my favorite to teach online. I definitely
Mm.
prefer in-person lessons, but you can do so much in an online lesson still, and it's really impactful, and it's really fun to be able to still check in with my students and have them play me little
Yep.
songs. And one of my students drew me something and showed it to me in
Oh,
the video, so that was cute too. It's fun.
that's adorable. My
Yeah, it's
kids
fun to
don't draw.
stay connected.
That's cool. I had one kid whose bass was super out of tune.
Uh-huh.
Tuning instruments virtually or
Oh,
helping
that,
kids tune instruments
yeah,
virtually.
that's not, that's one of the keys of in-person lessons, tuning
Yep.
a
Yep.
string instrument.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're trying so hard and you feel bad. And I'm like, it's gotta go higher. And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay.
yeah.
Yep.
And you're still playing your cello too?
Yeah. Yep. I haven't been practicing as much now that we've started like official like distance learning. Um, I like have my email open all day and I'm just like putting out fires. But the first 3 weeks I was practicing like every day, which was really nice. Pulled out like all my stuff from college.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. Do you remember
Yeah.
our tours with the Hope College Orchestra?
Do I
Oh,
remember our
the
tours?
good old days.
I had pictures pop up from that the other day and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
we were such
I
babies.
know.
I
It's
don't
fun.
remember where it was, but we had like burritos that were as big as our head at one in one of the pictures. I don't know where it was. I was like, what
I
is that?
I just will never forget Charleston and how beautiful that place was.
So pretty. And
And
the
the
food
chess
was
pie.
so good. Yes. It was it on the way to Charleston that we stopped in Tennessee. Were you with me? And like a family put money in our bags.
No, I wasn't with you. But
Did you you
there
didn't
were
have that?
there were many homestay stories.
Yep. Oh, I miss
I
homestay.
remember that I stayed with a former FBI agent, which was super cool. I think Rachel and
Which
I did
what trip was that?
in Florida.
What?
Yeah. We were just talking one day. We're like, "Yeah, what was your career?" And he was like, "Oh, I was an FBI agent." And we're like, "Wait, seriously?" He was like, "Yeah." I don't think he was lying to us. It was really fun. They were
Do
really
you remember,
nice.
do you remember when Mr. Peepo made Courtney do all the dishes?
Yes. That was funny too.
That was a good time. I don't think she went to our school the next year. I'm pretty sure she dropped out. I don't know
Yeah.
where she.
Do you think that, well, actually, that's a good question. Has your orchestra, I know you guys are your middle school. Do you
Yeah.
ever do field trips or tours or anything like that?
Yeah. So for us, we used to do like a big trip at the end of the year. And I guess before I was there, they used to play at Six Flags, like some sort of Six Flags thing at the end of the year. I don't know what that
Wow.
was. They didn't do that. We just do like mini trips. This year we're not doing anything. But the high school orchestra will do more things like that. So like Chris will
Hmm.
bring them. They do a lot of stuff like around Christmas time, playing for like the elementaries. I don't know if they've done like a tour yet where they've gone and played like in a different state. I think band has maybe done that. I'm trying to get him to do a Disney World trip so that they can play in Disney and I can come along when
That would be
everything
really fun.
opens. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't do a lot of that. Traveling with middle school is kind of a nightmare.
Hmm.
So,
But you do solo and ensemble stuff, right?
yep. Sloan
Okay.
Ensemble and Festival. Festival, we don't have to go anywhere, so that's nice
Okay.
because we host. But
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
Sloan Ensemble, we go to North Point Christian, which
Okay.
is kind of close. Do your parents live
It's
out that way? They used to live out that
they
way.
used to, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in Grand
Yep.
Rapids. Hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So we do that.
So do
But
you
yeah.
take for
Yep.
that, are you all on the same bus or do people have to drive separately?
Because it's a Saturday, we get away with making it like a separate
Okay.
driving thing. So usually I'll just meet kids there, and if they need
Hmm.
like something, help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super fun
I
stuff.
just thought of one more question.
Go for it.
Have you ever had an instrument break in your classroom?
Oh. Okay. So many answers for this. Yes is the short answer. My first year at West Ottawa, I had a student break 3 cellos in 15 minutes.
Okay, now I need to know how.
The first cello, he left on its side and he tripped over the end pin, which is why we have the you don't put cellos on their side anymore rule in
Yeah.
my classroom. It's because of him. And so I was like, okay, like it's fine. Like accidents happen. I've broken my cello. I get it. So I had him go get another cello. When he got back to his seat, he had his stand partner hold it, and his stand partner dropped the cello while he was holding his cello.
Oh no.
So then that cello broke, the neck snapped off. So I was like, okay, it's
Oh,
fine. It's fine. Like, I'm okay. It's my like first year of full-time teaching, freaking out. So I'm like, okay, one last try. I was like, go put this in my office, go grab one more cello. He drops the third cello on the way back into class, and the sound post pops out of it. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me right now. So I
that's
was
not
like, okay,
good.
no. And I emailed his mom, and she like, they felt really bad. Like it was total accident, but I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, you got to be kidding me. Like 3 cellos in 15 minutes. And I emailed the guy that I work with who teaches orchestra with me. And I was just like, what do I do? He's like, you just got to send them in to get fixed. Like,
Hmm.
it's fine.
Oh,
But yeah, 3 cellos in 15 is my record. I've had a couple kids break multiple instruments. Kids snap strings all the time because they're just like, I can do the pegs. No, you can't, but it's fine. It's fine. You'll get there. So yeah,
hmm. But then you deal with it and then you move on
yep, yep. You
another
can't
day.
like dwell on it because
Yeah.
there's going to be another instrument break in like 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
have you
Well,
had any, had you had any traumatizing instrument breaks or no?
um, I have quite a story. I was teaching a lesson and a young student learned a song all the way through. They were very excited. They learned it and they were holding their violin and then spun around because they were so excited in a little circle, spun around, did a dance, and then the violin flew out of their hand. And I am not exaggerating. It flew 10 feet across the room, hit the wall, and then like plummeted to the floor. And we were both standing there just like stunned and like looking at the wall and silent for a second. And then all of a sudden, I just started bursting out laughing, and then they did. And it was amazing because the violin didn't break.
What?
It made a huge dent in the wall, but it didn't break the instrument. It broke an E
Oh my
string.
God.
It broke the E string, but the body of the instrument did not break. And we were both just absolutely stunned and amazed. And I still can't believe that happened.
What?
So that was, I think that's my only story. I've had strings break too, but I cannot top your record of 3 broken cellos in 15 minutes.
I
That's a lot.
certainly hope that's the last time that ever happens. We did have someone, this wasn't my student, but at festival one year, a student from Holland dropped his tuba on a bass, and the mouthpiece of the tuba went through the bass.
Oh
And
no.
so there was like a giant hole, and that was the most traumatic one I've ever seen. But oh my gosh, no. I can't believe your student's instrument wasn't broken though. That's
I
crazy.
It was amazing. Yeah. Violin
Oh
of
my gosh.
steel.
But seriously though,
Yeah.
what the I wish,
Well,
yeah, no.
we have Rachel put a little emoji below. She's like, "Oh my goodness."
Rachel!
Rachel, how are you? Rachel's going to be my guest soon on here.
Yes. I'm gonna come on and ask you like 20 billion questions.
Yeah. Well, okay, I want to respect your time. We definitely went over our allotted. Do you have any parting words for our viewers, Jacquie?
Um, I think my parting words are in this time of quarantine, I realized how important music is. Um, and I think that those are just my parting words, that music is really important. It gets us through things. I wake up every day with music. I've been finishing
Mm-hmm.
every day with music. Like my days are literally surrounded with it because it's I don't know, it's what keeps me going. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Jacquie. This was such a good Q&A. I learned many
so
things.
I
It was
learned
good.
many things.
It was good. All right. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you too. See you, Larissa.
Bye.